Hey, what's going on, team? This is ShinkXD here, bringing you a Mesmer PvE build up until level 60 to level with. I hope this build helps you out a lot. If it does, please leave a like, let me know in the comments what you think about it. And yeah, so this build is going to be focused on Phantasms. Now, I'm trying to get as many Phantasms out as I can at one time, doing as much damage at one time for the duration of the time. How many times can I say time? Time. We're trying to get as many Phantasms as we can. Right now I am using the Greatsword and the Sword Pistol, but it can vary depending on what the situation may be. Also, keep in mind that the Greatsword is pretty much the general weapon that you're going to be using with this weapon for your main hand. You never really want to leave it because it's pretty much suits every need that you could possibly have, you know, or everything you could possibly need. You know what I mean. With the Phantasmal Zerker, it causes your cripple, which self-explanatory there, to zone enemies or kite them, whatever you gotta do. You have your knockback illusionary wave, very helpful. You have your condition remove, extra bit of damage. You have a clone spawn that gives you might, and you have a long range attack. It pretty much suits anything you ever wanted. Let's go ahead and talk about shatter skills. With this build, we don't generally use shatter skills as a main focus of damage, but at the same time we do tend to use them often, you know, fighting trash mobs, doing AoE damage, because with this build it's not the best to use against multiple amounts of trash mobs, but mainly focusing like that veteran or that champion with the trash mobs around it that you have to dispose of as quickly as possible. So you do tend to use shatter skills sometimes, but it's only situational. You'll get used to the feel of it once you play a Mesmer, but we're not going to focus on the damage of shattering in the first place. So as you level up from 10 to 20, you're going to put your first 10 points into the domination trait. Now the reason for this is it does increase power and condition duration, and early power as early as possible as you're playing pretty much any class is very beneficial, as it will increase your base damage, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but that will give you illusion of vulnerability, which you can look at that. And then for the add-up trait, you're gonna go ahead and get that empowered illusions, your 3 add-up trait, which gives you 15% more damage with your illusions. Now that's gonna help you a lot. For your next 10 points, you're gonna put them into dueling. Now that's going to give you that extra precision, that extra critical damage to help with those crits, to do a lot more damage. And of course with the 5 you get critical infusion, which grants vigor when you crit. And you're going to go for Phantasmal Fury. The reason for this is whenever you spawn your Phantasms, for the 10 seconds that they are up, they have a 20% crit chance. And of course, on top of the extra damage that that's going to put out, later on in this build, we're going to start building more into the dueling trait, and then we'll get to the 15 trait, Sharper Images, which inflicts bleeding on critical hits. So whenever your illusion's critical, when they hit a critical hit, it stacks bleeding, which, let's look at this. Whenever you're using the Pistol Duelist, or the Phantasmal Duelist, sorry, it hits 8 different times. That's 8 chances to hit a critical and stack bleeding. You tend to stack a lot of bleeding in the future as you do build precision with your armor and whatever else. So it's going to be very beneficial to get this as early as you can to up that illusion damage. Those next 10 points, as you reach level 40, you're going to dump straight into Inspiration, which that Inspiration is going to give you more vitality and more healing to help you out just in certain circumstances. You can heal more, and more vitality is always nice no matter what you're doing. Now, that's going to give you Vengeful Images at 5, which grants Retaliation to Phantasms, very helpful. And then you're going to pick up Persisting Images for your add-up trait, which Persisting Images gives your Phantasms increased health, because Phantasms tend to die pretty often in PvE as mobs tend to gather up on them, or champions one-hit them or whatever. 20% health increase is actually a big increase for those Phantasms to keep them alive longer, to get that extra burst of damage before they go away, or to give you that extra time to resummon another one. It's going to help you out a lot, so you're going to go for this next. Now, as you reach level 40, I think you're able to get the next trait book, so that you can progress to about, I think it's 20 in each stat, or each trait. And what you're going to do with that is you're going to put 5 points into dueling, which will give you, of course, the critical damage and the condition duration. It's going to give you that Sharper Images that I talked about earlier to stack those bleeds as your Phantasm's crit, which is going to be a pretty high chance now that you have, of course, the Phantasmal Fury, and you'll have a good bit of precision by this level. So it's going to help you out a lot. You're going to be stacking bleeds as you're doing damage, but you're not going to focus on condition damage with your gear. You're going to focus more on power and precision. Now, with those last 15 points, as you get to about level 60, you're going to start working on Inspiration. Now, Inspiration is going to allow you Phantasmal Healing at 15, which is going to help you a lot. When your Phantasms can grant regeneration to your whole team, people are going to enjoy that, as they can start stacking regen. When you're just summoning Phantasms, not even trying to heal them or whatever, they're getting regen. Self-explanatory there. Now with your master trait, this one, it kind of depends on what exactly you're doing. I went ahead to get compounding celerity for, you know, open world PvE or whatever, so that I could get more movement speed as my illusions are up. But this one is very situational. For example, in dungeons, you may want to pick up Warden's feedback, as if you were using the focus, those skills do reflect projectiles, which is going to be very, very helpful, and it reduces the recharge of those, you know, your Phantasm and your wall. Now, you could also go for, of course, you know, remove a condition when you heal, if you do need that. Granting Vigor to nearby allies as you shatter illusions, if you tend to do that a lot. You know, if you tend to use Glamour skills, there you go. Create a dome around your foes that reflects projectiles. When you're trying to revive an ally, you reflect projectiles. That's going to be pretty helpful if you're in a circumstance where you need that. Use mantras, restorative mantras. It's pretty much situational, but in open world PvE, I'm going to go ahead and go with compounding clarity, just because that's what I'm currently doing, but it all depends, like I said. Now, your 25 trait is going to be the most important reason for adding 25 inspiration. Phantasmal strength, 15% damage increase on phantasms. Pretty self-explanatory. And remember, like I said, this build is focused entirely on phantasms and nothing else. You can shatter them if you need to. Everything's situational, as you are playing a Mesmer, a very situational class. But we are focusing on phantasms, summoning as many phantasms as we can, doing as much damage as we can, upping the damage of them, stacking bleeds, whatever you gotta do. Now, just remember, power and precision are the two stats you have to have on gear. So if any gear has both of those, you're well set. If it has either of those, go for whatever. You're gonna try and get as much power and precision as you can build as possible. Now, keep in mind, this is just a trait build. As for utilities go, that is entirely situational and up to you. If you want to play with mantras, you can go with the Greatsword mantra combination, which you can zone enemies out and cripple them and just take them down with mantras, which can be very powerful, and you can start building towards that eventually in the future. But I'm leaving the last 20 levels of traits up to you guys and whatever you want to build with it, what you can make out of it. This is just to level up with, and it is the most powerful build, you know, to level up with, other than, you know, the shatter builds or whatever that you like to use for AoE. But in my case, I do prefer the Phantasm build over shattering AoE type build, because it's more enjoyable to play, and I feel like I take things down quicker, and I do find myself fighting tons of veterans, champions, you know, doing events where you're focused on small groups of enemies rather than hoarding and AoEing everything, because that's just not the way I like to play, because I'm used to playing thief style classes. That's just me. If this build isn't for you, that's totally fine. There are plenty of other builds out there. Definitely recommend you to start looking into some before you actually decide on this one, but it all depends on your playstyle, guys. So if this is your playstyle, I'm really glad that you did look at my build, took the time to watch this video, and hopefully enjoyed it, guys. It's been a lot of fun making it. I love to make videos like this. I plan to make more in the future, so please do subscribe if you're interested in Guild Wars 2 and other video games. And I do have a stream at twitch.tv/ShinkXD that you can check out. I hope this build helped a lot. I didn't really talk about elites and healing, but that's pretty much up to you. I like Time Warp. It's all situational, like I said. Ether Feast seems to be the only reasonable heal. That's just a quick way to explain that. I'm sorry. But yeah, guys, that is my PvE leveling Phantasm build, and I'll make more videos related to this leveling guide in the future. Hope to see you guys later. This is ShinkXD signing out. Peace.